appointments and to talk about the sufficiency of the instrument of appointment. Good
Yes,
morning,
Mr.
Mr. Allenbeck.
Good morning. First of all, can you hear me? Have I unmuted myself appropriately?
You have.
Yes.
All right, that's the first thing that has to happen. We have 3 appointment letters this morning. We have an appointment letter from Jeremy Rivas, the president of the Porter County Council, notifying NERC that Bob Paparad, who's the Porter County Councilman for District 1, is the Porter County Council appointment. Secondly, we have a letter from Wanata indicating that Denise Ebert, the clerk treasurer, and that comes from Jeffrey Newborn, the town council president, will be the appointee to NERC from Wanata. And thirdly, we have a letter from the clerk treasurer of Couts indicating that the town council president, Robert Forster, will be the representative from Couts. All 3 of those appointment letters are in proper form pursuant to our enabling statute, and all 3 of these individuals should be welcomed to membership as commissioners for the Northwest Indiana Regional Planning Commission.
Mr. Allenbeck, thank you. And I welcome our colleagues from Porter County, from Wanata, and from Couts. I hope that you're with us this morning. Welcome to the commission. I also wish, if I may, to recognize, some of you may not be fully aware of this. As you know, Representative Ed Soliday had served for a very long time, many years actually, as the governor's appointment and representative to our commission pursuant to the statute. He is succeeded this morning by Robert Forster. State Representative Forster is now, I believe, the governor's appointee who will serve in to succeed Representative Soliday in that position. Good morning, Representative Forster, and welcome to the commission.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, it is in order at this time that we ascertain that we have a quorum. A roll call will be necessary. At the same time, commissioners, I'm going to ask that if there's no objection to the minutes, your roll call will be also your affirmation of the minutes that have been enrolled. So before the roll call, I do want to make sure that there is no objection to the minutes in the form that they presented. Is there any objection, or is there any suggestion for a change that is substantive and not technical or of a typographical nature? Staff would have authority under our parliamentary authority to make non-substantive changes that improve grammar or just make spelling correct. I hear none, so I will place before you the enrolled minutes and your vote when responding to the roll call. I ask that you not just say here, but yes, because your vote will serve to affirm your presence, to establish a quorum, and will also be to affirm the minutes of the November 19th, 2020 full commission meeting. Candace Eklund, I invite you please to call the roll.
Sure. I have one question first. Will there be a motion and a second on the minutes, or after I take roll call?
There won't be a motion or a second. Hearing none, I'm placing that before the commission under general consent to be voted on.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm just doing a little parliamentary razzle dazzle this morning.
Well, it's impressive. Thank you. Okay, for roll call, Kyle Allen, Dwayne Art, Jeanette Babst, Janet Beck,
Yes.
Jeff Benson,
Yes.
Jim Biggs, Kevin Brightsky, Charlie Brown.
Kevin Brightsky says yes.
Thank you, Kevin. Charlie Brown? I thought I saw him.
Yeah, I did too. He's having trouble getting his speaker unmuted.
Yes.
There he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Thank you. Bill Carroll,
Yes.
Good morning,
Robert
Mayor Carroll. Hope
Carnahan,
you're feeling better.
Yes.
Anthony Copeland, Jocelyn Denham,
Yes.
Tom Dermody,
Yes.
John Derwinski,
Yes.
Dinah Dumbrus,
Yes.
Denise Ebert, Emerson,
Yes.
Robert Forster,
Yes.
Michael Griffin,
Yes.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Tony Hendricks, Eric Hall,
Yes.
Jack Geralds, Justin Keel,
Yes.
Andrew Kiris,
Yes.
Robert Lemay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Sheila Matias, Tom McDermott,
Yes.
Lori Mercer,
Yes.
Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Edward Morales, Matt Murphy,
Yes.
Dwayne Perry, David Feeler, Bob Paparad, I've echoed, Bob Paparad, Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Mike Rosenbaum, Rick Rifa,
Yes.
Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Snedcore,
Yes.
thank you, Steve Spebar, Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Sharon Zuido, Mary Tanis, Jim Tunn,
Commissioner Tun?
okay, George Topple,
Yes.
John Yelkich.
Yes.
That concludes roll call, Michael.
Second call for for Commissioner Tun. I know you're here.
Yes.
Also, Janice Ebert is here.
Oh, great, thank
You
you.
wish to enter your vote, Ms. Ebert?
She has no volume. She chatted.
I see. Oh, I see. All right. I guess without a vote for Miss Ebert, is she voting? I'm looking at her chat and I cannot tell.
She said
she's
yes.
putting in the chat, yes. So she's affirmative.
She's
Very
affirmative,
well.
okay. And Mr. Tunn?
All right. Candace Eklund, I believe that we have 32 voting in the affirmative, no negatives, and one voting present. The chair declares a quorum and also declares the minutes of the November 19th meeting to be approved. I thank the commission and I thank Ms. Eklund. Moving forward then, this would be the moment in our meeting when we accept public comment. Did anybody enroll or is there anybody present today that wishes to offer comment before the commission this morning? I'm looking for hands waving.
I did not receive anything, Michael.
All right, and I don't see anyone looking to try to be recognized. So if there's no objection, I will move us from public comment then to the balance of our agenda for work. I now recognize the Executive Director, Ty Warner, to present the 2020 NERC annual report.
Thank you,
Good
Mr.
morning, Ty.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Meredith, if you'd be so kind as to switch over to the annual report, that would be fantastic. And while she's doing that, let me take the opportunity to introduce two new staff people that we have, who I don't think have had the opportunity to be introduced before the commission before. Denneray Kane is helping us with the Economic Development District. And Denneray, nice to see you. Thank you. Some of you may know Denneray from formerly with the City of Hobart. And she is now helping us with CARES Act funds and all the great work that she and the mayor have accomplished together in Hobart. She's now transferring those skills for the benefit of the whole region in helping this economic development activity to take place as we've received these CARES Act funds that I'll mention in the annual report. So welcome to Denneray. And would also like to introduce Lucas Eklund Baker. If I don't see him, but he is here on the call. Lucas is our new communications coordinator, which is a position I've wanted to have for a very long time, ever since I came to NERC. So happy to have Lucas on board to help us with our communications activities. And as I start diving into the annual report, if Meredith is able to pull it up, I just want to thank Lucas for the effort that went into creating this. Lucas was thrown into the fire. I figured this was a good first task for him to help try to learn everything that NERC did over the past year. And so he's responsible for having put this together under much duress. So I want to thank Lucas for getting this together. Meredith, are we able to get that, or is that not working? Or did we lose Meredith altogether? I'm having the sense that we have lost Meredith.
Yeah, I see her still listed as a host. I see that there's a cloud with a red dot in it as if that she's got a bandwidth issue. Because she's got a cross through her mic and a cross through her camera.
No worries. Let me see if I'm able to share my own screen, and then if so, I will.
If you have it, everybody would have share privileges.
She's just telling me that her screen is frozen, so no worries. Let me go over to my own screen and see if I can do that from here. All right. Is that, I can't tell what's visible from here. Can you see a 2020?
Yes, we see a first page. It says annual report.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through every page of this. What will happen is I'm just going to give you an overview of what happened in this report that reflects what happened in 2020. And then following this meeting, we will send this out to all commissioners and make it available widely. So you will be receiving this. So I'm just going to take a quick merry romp through this report to just give you a taste, or sort of just kind of whet your appetite for it. And particularly those who are new to the commission, welcome. I think this will help serve also as an idea of what you've gotten yourself into in being appointed to this commission. So just a quick note, as you look at when you receive this and look at the 2020 commissioners, this does reflect everybody at the end of 2020, not the new appointments for 2021. So don't be concerned if you're newly appointed, but your name is not on this list. This is over the past year. So everybody is reflected here, as well as staff. As I start off, I'm just going to read the first sentence because it's so true to everything that we experienced in 2020 of my letter within this report. A worldwide pandemic was not in any of the region's plans. So I just want to emphasize that. I think we know that. And fortunately, I just want to take the opportunity, as I try to do here in this paragraph, to thank the commissioners and to thank staff for their flexibility over this past year in very trying circumstances. I know the staffs of all of your communities have worked very hard and had to adapt under these unusual circumstances and being remote and having to conduct meetings remotely. And by the way, we're very grateful to the governor for the provision to be able to hold this way during this time. But everybody really stepped up in a lot of ways, from allocating CARES Act funds that we received from the Federal Transit Administration to putting together plans and applications for CARES Act funds for the Economic Development District. Gabrielle Bachinas will give a report on economic development activities closer to the end of this meeting, so I don't want to steal her thunder on that. But there was a lot that happened. And as you know, with NERC, not only was it a matter of shifting what we normally do to be able to keep on functioning without being able to always be in the office, but it was also a matter of receiving new funds, thanks to the CARES Act, from the federal government. That came along with our FTA, Federal Transit Administration responsibilities, as well as our Economic Development Administration, Economic Development District activities. And so there was a lot of scrambling to be able to address those new funds that became available to us for the benefit of the region. So just thanks to staff and thanks to the commissioners for all of your activities. You can see all of the faces, many of which you'll probably see on this Zoom call right now of staff. And this was our life in 2020, as it was for many of you as well. So there it is, memorialized in the 2020 report. There's a page here on NERC's mission, particularly for those of you new to the commission. This would be great to acclimate yourselves to about what NERC is about and how it's written into state statute to do what it does. This next page deals with the main primary documents that guide our mission. NWI 2050 is our long-range plan, and then summarized here is our short-range plans, as we've termed them, that are also required. New to this mix because of our economic development district status is the comprehensive economic development strategy, but you can read summations of that. This next page, I don't want to call Lucas out, but as I mentioned, Lucas is our new communications coordinator. This was his mind map as he's trying to assess what NERC is and what it does. And I thought it was so cool that I just wanted to throw it into the annual report. If it does not help you in understanding what NERC does, then just consider it abstract art. And you can just appreciate it for that. But if it does help you understand how the pieces start fitting together, it is worth looking at this in sort of, I forget which is left brain and right brain, but I think it's your right brain artistic space. You can just absorb NERC into that right brain space.
That is correct.
Very good. Thanks, Mr. Chair. Here is a summation of our budget. You can see how things break down, including how the local appropriations that we receive from the counties out of the state statute work to leverage a tremendous amount of federal resources that come back for service to the region. So this describes our 2020 budget. And I want to thank Talia Jones for putting together these figures, which are, as I understand it, primarily estimates, since she's still closing out things from 2020, but it will give you a good sense of where the money goes at NERC, which we always want to be transparent about, of course. This next map shows the TIP Transportation Improvement Project between 2020 and 2024 and how those are spread out across the region. You can look at that in more detail with the legends as you receive the report, just to give a sense that we do try to work hard to work with all the communities as we allocate these funds and help fund the projects that we receive multiple requests for. And again, you all know this, but the requests for projects far exceed the amount available. So it's a testament to the region's ability to collaborate and work together to try to come up with that distribution, which is reflected in more detail on this chart. And again, the large amount of monies that are involved. For those of you new to the commission, the simplest way to say what NERC does is we help connect communities to receive federal funds for the transportation projects that they want to accomplish in our capacity as the Metropolitan Planning Organization. This also shows how, this next chart shows how the funds are distributed across different modes, transit and road projects. And then these next two portions deal with our three areas that are in our state statute that talks about NERC's responsibility to develop plans and programs for transportation, economic development, and the environment. So this is by no means comprehensive or all-inclusive of the activities that NERC undertook in 2020 despite the pandemic. But as you look at some of these highlights, again, I want to express my appreciation to staff for carrying on these activities even when we were dispersed and working remotely. So again, you can look at these at your leisure when you receive the report, but there's both transportation, economic development. As I mentioned, Gabrielle will give an economic development district update at the end of this meeting, and the environment. And then finally, just a summation of the work that we did to mobilize. And I want to thank Peter Kimball in particular and others on staff that helped to put this COVID-19 status dashboard together, which is still accessible on our homepage of our website as we track coronavirus throughout the region, and have also provided links to resources for communities and businesses and residents. So that is the 2020 annual report, and we will send that out to everybody almost pretty soon, right after this meeting, as soon as we can get it out. I just want to close that though by saying what's not on the report, but obviously was a big part of 2020 and the end of this year as well, which of course was the end into the beginning of 2021. Which was the matching funding from the United States Department of Transportation for the Westlake Corridor and Double Track projects. Very, very welcome to receive those. And of course, as you're aware, Pete Buttigieg, former mayor of South Bend, has been nominated as the new transportation secretary. So not only was Elaine Chao under the previous administration extremely supportive of these projects, and we are very, very grateful for that, and very grateful that this was literally almost one of her last acts before she left the administration, was to complete this funding. But obviously, Pete Buttigieg is also a great champion of these projects, and given that they link to South Bend in particular. So this bodes very well for the region as presumably he takes over that role in the new administration. Finally, and also just wanted to say the Klein Avenue Bridge. Of course, some of us were fortunate enough to be able to take the inaugural drive over the opening of that bridge. That was a long time in coming, done with private funds. Represents a new mechanism that has not been done in this region before to build something of that magnitude with private funding. Of course, East Chicago has the embankments on either side, and so help make that happen. We modeled that project thanks to Scott Weber's work to make sure that it fit within our network and conformity, congestion management process that we have to do, but it was not used with federal funds. So very unique to this region. And I might throw in there, if you have not driven it, I believe it's free for the rest of January. And then I think it's only $1 or something in February before it goes up to the atolls. And your Easy Pass works within that bridge. So that is now open and was a long time in coming. Okay, now the last thing I'll say is that sometime very soon after this meeting, I'll be getting with our presumptive new chair following elections soon to happen. And we will be sending out the committee and topical interest survey that we typically do at this time to find out find out all of your interests and what areas you may wish to serve more in as we have committee work or other opportunities for you to serve in the work that NERC does. So thanks for bearing with me through all that. Look forward to getting your reaction to the annual report as you receive it. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out and don't hesitate to ask. And with that, Mr. Chair, that is the report. Thank you again for a great last year despite challenging circumstances, and looking forward to everything that 2021 holds.
Ty, as always, thank you for your administrative leadership and your being the face of NERC in the best sense of that. I appreciate it very much. If there's no objection, the report will be deemed to be received and filed and then ready for presentation to the commissioners. Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Moving forward then, we are now under the matter of the change of guard. It's in order at this time to receive the committee report of the nominating committee, which has customarily been the 4 officers. While that's not formalized in any rule, that has been our custom, so it becomes our rule under our parliamentary authority. And you should have in your packet the presentation of the recommendations of the nominating committee, its report for the 2021 period to serve and lead you. If you will allow, I would like to just tell you that it has been my privilege to be a servant leader with you still again. I appreciate the affirmation of being able to chair again. Although there's not formally a gavel because of the pandemic, I think that Zoom has been an excellent platform, and I've been very thrilled that we've had excellent attendance and have not had difficulty sustaining a quorum, even with the pandemic. So it's something to think about in terms of legislation to allow NERC to have this platform even after this pandemic. It occurs to me, I don't want to delay the business of the commission, but I wanted to share with you an idea. To my colleagues on the commission, to our council, also to our executive director and to the staff, to the officers with whom I've served, to the new officers who will be, I hope, assuming new roles of leadership with you. I want to tell you it's been a privilege to be with you. I regard you as my colleagues. I always feel like I'm in the tall grass with you. And I just want to share with you a creedal verse from the scriptures of my faith. It's one of my favorite. It's Paul speaking to the church of Galatia. He said to them, let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we lose not our heart. And I know that nobody could be in this commission from the places of your service if you weren't committed to well-doing. I just hope you do not lose heart, because we will reap if we allow the due season to come and lose not our hearts. Having said that, the report is before you. The report of the nominating committee is as follows.
Amen.
Thank you, my colleague, Mr. Carnahan.
Mr. Chairman,
The chair recognizes Mayor Dermody.
yes, just one on that board. I happen to see Representative Pressel join the meeting, and I thought he was the new governor's appointment with the
Yes.
Representative
At the
Salomon.
time, Mr. Mayor, thank you for, and Commissioner Dermody, we thank you for that. We do understand that Representative Pressel is going to be we're waiting actually for the formal appointment language from the governor. We're holding him as the putative holder of that seat. And at the time that we prepared our report, we did not know that. So although we're reporting to you on here, the governor's appointment as Representative Soliday, it has no legal import from the standpoint of it's the governor's appointment. So we could put anybody on here and it would only matter what the governor said. So, but thank you for illustrating that. And I appreciate that very much so that the commission is fully informed. Continuing with our report, for chairperson, the nominating committee recommends George Topel. For vice chairperson, it recommends Justin Kyle. For secretary, it recommends Richard Hardaway. For treasurer, it recommends Greg Stinson. For the executive board members, pursuant to the statute, having representation from having 2 members representing each of the 3 counties in our catchment area. From Lake County, Wendy Miss and Bill Emerson. From LaPorte County, Sheila Matthias and Mayor Dermody. And from Porter County, Jim Tunt and Sue Lynch. Now, ordinarily, I would go through, because we're going to have a roll call on every one of these votes. What I said at the outset is I would do this parliamentarily correct. So earlier when I said we were going to have basically 2 votes today, we're going to have more because we're going to vote on each of these separately if it becomes necessary. So beginning for chairperson, are there any nominations from the commission besides George Topel? Are there any nominations? Are there any nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. It would be in order at this time then to take a roll call vote for George Topel as chairperson. I regret that it is a condition of the order of the governor that we have to take a vote for anything that requires a vote. I can do this. If there's no objection from the commission, I can deviate slightly from parliamentary authority and allow for the full report to be received and any votes that would be necessary to be taken up at the end, or if there's a nomination from the floor, that to be taken up. Is there any objection?
No.
Mr. President,
Yes, the chair recognizes, I can't see who I'm recognizing.
Mayor McDermott,
The chair recognizes Commissioner McDermott.
could you explain to me how the executive board members were chosen to be eliminated, please?
Okay, if I hear the question correctly, how we made determinations of the members of the executive board when there are already people serving on that.
Yeah.
I take the question. Speaking on behalf of the board, that was actually very difficult. We know that you had served a very long time. You're also a past chair. Other past chairs have been members of the executive board as well. One of the complications when we're trying to pick people from Lake County is that Lake County has 19 cities and towns that can be represented, whereas the other 2 counties have 11 in each case. The executive committee wrestled with us for quite a while. It was determined that we were going to try to, and this time, not as you'll notice, in the case of Lake County, we tried to move away from having the big cities who basically can come to the meetings and speak with authority anyway. Although you're a putative equal as a commissioner on the full commission, your voice does carry some weight because of the authority of the nature and length of your public service. So we made the determination that we were going to try to introduce some new faces and some new voices. That doesn't diminish the distinguished work of the commissioner or the others that we had to rotate. It just happens to be that the statute only allows us to have 2, and there's 19 talented people, many of whom are mayors and executives in Class 2 cities, in which we have 3 of in Lake County. And that was the rationale of the commission. At the time when those are taken up, if the commissioner wishes to, he can propose from the floor a nomination if he wishes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, recognizing the commissioner.
so each county, Lake County, having twice as many people as Porter County that live in Lake County, and probably more than twice as many people that live in LaPorte County, is it fair? Is it legal? I guess that's a question, that Lake County only gets 2 appointees to this board. And that's a good question, because I see this type of stuff come out often. Even though it's in the statute, doesn't mean it's legal, doesn't mean it's constitutional. It seems to me that Lake County, having 460,000 citizens, should have more representation on the executive board than 2 people.
You make I tell you what you well know, having been a distinguished grad of the Notre Dame Law School and having served our nation, not just in any part of the Navy, but as a submariner. So I feel a little sheepish in telling the commissioner what he well knows. You're making a substantive due process argument. And I have some sympathy for that argument, quite frankly, because I'm a resident of Lake County myself. But as you also know, and as our legal counsel, Holland Beck, would tell you, We have to presume the laws presumptively constitutional until a court of proper jurisdiction tells us otherwise. So while I hear and am somewhat sympathetic with the commissioner's complaint, we are going to proceed as the statute directs us, which is equal representation in numerical representation from each county on the executive committee. But I do thank the commissioner for his insight.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. Following that, then I'm going to proceed then so that there can be one vote if possible at the end of this. Nominations are closed for the position of chairperson. Are there any nominations for the position of vice chairman in addition to Justin Kyle? Are there any nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed for vice chairperson. Are there any nominations for the position of secretary? I see or hear none. Nominations for secretary are closed. Are there any nominations for the position of treasurer? Are there any nominations for the position of treasurer? Hearing and seeing none, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for the position of executive board? Are there any nominations for the position of executive board for Lake County, LaPorte County, or Porter County? Hearing none, nominations are closed. It would be in order at this time then for the nominating committee's report to serve both as a report that's received and the formal election of George Topol as chairperson, Justin Kyle as vice chairperson, Richard Hardaway as secretary, Greg Stinson as treasurer, Wendy Miss, Bill Emerson, Sheila Matthias, Tom Dermody, Jim Tunt, and Sue Lynch to be members of our executive committee for the coming year. Ms. Eklund, may I invite you to call the roll, please?
Yes. Kyle Allen. Dwayne Arndt. Jeanette Babs. Janet Beck.
Yes.
Jeff Benson.
Aye.
Jim Biggs. Kevin Brightsky.
Yes.
Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown.
A question, Mr. Chair, on Commissioner
McDermott?
McDermott's issue. Is it worthwhile to either have asked for consideration of the legislature to tweak that there is either a weighted vote or by population that should consider having more representation from Lake County?
I thank the commissioner for his question. We are in the middle of a roll call vote. I will forbear the usual parliamentary treatment of that just to say that I think that's an ideal subject matter for the legislative committee. While we do have weighted vote as a power now, I think that the better remedy would be to speak to the legislature about modifying the requirements of representation on the executive board. And I thank the commissioner for his question.
I vote aye.
I thank the commissioner for his vote of aye. Ms. Eklund, please proceed.
Thank you. Bill Carroll.
Aye.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Anthony Copeland. Jocelyn Denham.
Aye.
Tom Dermody.
Aye.
John Derwinski.
Aye.
Dinah Dumbrus.
Aye.
Denise Ebert. Denise Ebert, she replied yes.
Thank you.
Bill Emerson.
Yes.
Robert Forster.
Aye.
Michael Griffin.
Aye.
Richard Hardaway.
Yes.
Tony Hendricks. Eric Hall.
Yes.
Jack Geralds. Justin Keel.
Aye.
Andrew Kiris.
Yes.
Robert LeMay.
Yes.
Sue Lynch.
Aye.
Sheila Matthias. Tom McDermott.
Nay.
Tom McDermott votes nay. Continue, Ms. Eklund.
Yes, thank you. Lori Mercer.
Aye.
Wendy Miss.
Yes.
Edward Morales. Matt Murphy.
Aye.
Dwayne Perry. David Peeler. Bob Paparad. Jerome Prince.
Yes.
Mike Rosenbaum. Rick Rifa.
Yes.
Tom Schmidt. Tom Schmidt?
Yes.
Thank you. Brian Snedecor.
Yes.
Steve Spebar. Greg Stinson.
Aye.
Gerald Swets.
Aye.
Sharon Zuido. Mary Tanis.
Yes.
Thank you. Jim Tunn. George Topple.
Yes.
John Yelkich.
Aye.
That ends roll call, Michael.
Thank you, Ms. Eklund. I have 31 votes in the affirmative, 1 no vote, and 1 present vote for Commissioner Tunn. Having attained the necessary affirmative votes, the report of the nominating committee is approved and the members listed on it are elected. I congratulate all of them for their leadership and their service, and I hand over the chairman duties for the balance of the meeting and for the balance of the year to George Topel. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. And I want to thank you again for all your service and all the service of all the people that have helped NERC throughout the years. And God bless everyone, and God bless the future for the coming year.
Amen.
Mr. Chair, Mr. New Chair, Mr. Old Chair, Mr. New Chair, if I could just jump in here for a moment. Michael, I am sorry that we are not physically present to be able to convey this in person, but I would just like to, there's not enough light in here, present to you, at least virtually, the official gavel plaque for your service over this past year. For those of you new to the commission, the wonderful thing about this plaque is it actually has a real detachable gavel, which is a nice feature. So I will be sure to get this to you in some way, shape, or form, since I cannot, the ability to just do a Star Trek sort of rematerialization of this on your end does not exist yet. So I will get this to you in some way, shape, or form, but thank you for your service. It has been a pleasure, as always, to work with you. Not to mention, as I always say, to always increase my knowledge and my vocabulary. So thank you very much for your service. And this is the second time you will be able to display this
I
proudly.
sure appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Commission. Thanks, everyone.
Again, thank you, former Chairman Griffin,
All right.
and I appreciate your mentoring throughout the years and all that you've done. Moving along with the next point is Environmental Management Policy Committee to be presented by Bill Emerson.
Good morning. Congratulations, Mr. Topple, and thank you, Michael Griffin, for your service. I can't think of anyone who could have guided us through 2020 better than you did as chairman, so thank you. Thank you very much. The Environmental Management Policy Committee met, well, you have in your packet the meeting minutes from November 5th, and we also met on January 7th. It was kind of a organizational meeting, a kind of a planning meeting for the EMPC. On January 7th, we had a lot of really great turnout and great input from everyone on sort of issues and things we'd like to focus on in the upcoming year. There are a lot of things happening as far as there's a MS4 clean water permit from the state that's being updated, redrafted this year, that hopefully we can stay in tune with and help all the commissioners stay updated on as well. There's several items that we're looking forward to tackling this year. So I hope everyone can join us at our next meeting. Is going to be April 1st at 9 a.m. And I appreciate the nomination also to the executive board for 2021. I'm looking forward to serving in that role as well. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Emerson. The next point on the agenda is a consent agenda so that, as I understand it, and correct me if I am incorrect, but that we can go through each one of the items listed in consent agenda 8.0, which would include several committee reports for one vote to expedite the issues. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
All right, and moving right along, we'd like to ask Commissioner Hardaway, if you'd be so kind as to present the Finance and Personnel Committee report that was taking place this morning. Commissioner Hardaway? Are you muted?
Yeah, I believe you're on mute, Mr. Hardaway, if you can.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay,
Well,
so
welcome
again,
to
thank you,
the audio
Mr.
world.
Chair. And Mr. Griffin, I'd like to thank you for your friendship, first of all,
Thank you.
through the years. And it's always a pleasure to always be in your company, and I always look forward to you enlightening us at every turn. Thank you very much for everything that you continue to do.
Thank you for your time.
The Finance and Personnel Committee met this morning, and we reviewed our financial standings, and we have one thing that comes before the commission this morning, a procurement recommendation. Who's going to present that? Do we have one person? Yeah. Okay, well, moving right along, we have two replacement BOC vehicles, procurement number 21-01. This is for the purchase of two vehicles, replacements for LaPorte Transport at a total of $118,400. The vehicles being replaced will have met their useful life of 4 years or 100,000 miles at the time of delivery. And this will be paid through the Federal Transit Administration funds at 80% out of a grant of IN 2020-039 and local share coming from the above listed agencies. Recommendation to approve the purchase of replacement vehicles not to exceed $118,400 in federal funds. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Hardaway. Is there any comment at this time or any questions? Hearing none, we'll move along to the, and there will be an action that will go into the consent agenda at the end of the final resolution presented. The next item is Commissioner Brzezinski, Technical Planning Committee. Mr. Brzezinski, would you please be so kind as to present the information?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to tentatively welcome Representative Jim Pressel to the board. If you're not aware, he is chair of the House Roads and Transportation Committee. So he'd be a more than welcome addition from my point of view, and from standing on the Technical Planning Committee, which met virtually on Tuesday, January 12th. There are two actions for consideration today. The first action is on Resolution 2101, Amendment number 12 to fiscal year 2020-2024 Transportation Improvement Program. The comment report starts on page 15 of your packet, followed by the resolution and proposed changes to the tip. The Technical Planning Committee recommends adoption of Resolution 2101 as printed on pages 56 and 57. Charles Bratsky will provide a summary of the 30-day comment period for the amendment then explain the action. Mr. Bradsky?
Good morning, everyone. First off, before I begin, I'd like to make a note that there was a mistake that was made on the amendment. When it initially went out to the ICG and the public for comment, it was labeled as amendment number 11. However, it's actually amendment number 12. Amendment number 11 was an emergency amendment for the funding of the Northern Indiana Commuter Transit District, or NICTD. It wasn't until a few days after that amendment went out for public comment that the mistake was pointed out to me. So again, this is amendment number 12. NERC held a 21-day public comment for this amendment from December 18th, 2020 to January 8th, 2021. This amendment and the list of projects were made available on NERC's website. No comments were received. NERC also sent the list of projects to the interagency consultation group for their comments prior to putting the list of projects on its websites. NERC received no comments from the ICG outside of the one comment that I mentioned about the mistake, and approval was given on December 28th, 2020 or earlier. This report is on page 17 of the commission packet. Shall I continue, Commissioner Brzezinski?
Please do.
Moving on to 8.2.2, Resolution 20-01, Amendment number 12, is on pages 18 to 57 of your packet. This amendment comprises of 47 projects and covers fiscal years 2020 to 2024. The list of projects are on page 18 to 55. 13 projects had local sponsors and 34 projects were sponsored by NDOT. Again, the resolution for this amendment is on pages 56 and 57. The breakdown of these projects on this amendment are as follows. Burns Harbor reduced their funding and the scope for their trail and added a right-of-way phase. Chesterton accelerated the construction of their trail project from 24 to 2023 and added a significant amount of funds to the right-of-way phase. The city of Gary added a significant amount of preliminary engineering funds to their 15th Street project. Hammond deleted all the funds from their trail project. They believe they will be receiving next level trail funding. Note that the project is not being deleted, it is just being defunded. Hammond also changed the scope of another one of their trail projects. If you remember from a couple TPC meetings ago or commission meetings ago, the funds are now going to a complete streets project. So they had a scope change. Highland finally gave NERC a DES number from their project, and that was awarded in their 2019 NOFA. So that project can now be funded in the TIP and the STIP. The city of LaPorte combined a couple of sidewalk projects and a couple of paving projects, resulting in 2 projects being eliminated and the funds being transferred to the other 2 projects. Lake County added a significant amount of funds for the right-of-way phase for their 45th Avenue project. Michigan City added a railroad crossing safety project. Portage added funds for the right-of-way phase of their Central Avenue project and additional funds for construction. And that's it for the local projects. NDOT had 34 projects and they're broken down into the following. There were 15 bridge rehabs, 1 bridge replacement, 5 pavement rehabilitation or maintenance projects, 4 traffic safety projects, 3 intersection improvement projects, 1 intelligent traffic safe system project, and 5 pipe rehabilitation or replacement projects. And that is it. Is there any questions?
Does anybody have any comments or questions for Charles? Specific to resolution that were 2101? Mr. Chairman, I don't hear or see anybody who has any questions, so we'll just move on to the second action.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Which is-
Brezski.
On Resolution 2102, the state safety performance measure targets. The resolution is found on pages 58 and 59 of your packet. The Technical Planning Committee recommends adoption of Resolution 2102. Scott Weber will present the report.
Good morning. Agenda item 8.2.3, Resolution 21-02 on pages 58 to 60 of your agenda packets seeks to adopt the state's safety performance measure targets. Every year, NERC is federally required to either adopt the state's safety performance measure targets or set our own. And we have 180 days after the state decides what their performance measure targets are going to be. Since the state decided on August 27th of 2020, it is incumbent on NERC to basically decide either this month or next. So we've decided to adopt the state's performance measure targets. That's staff's recommendation. You'll find on page 60, at the very last page of your agenda packet, the technical changes that need to be made to our two core planning documents, the NWI 2050 plan, as well as the fiscal year 2020 to 2024 Transportation Improvement Program, in order to formalize the adoption of the state's safety performance measure targets. And you can see that the good news is that in all of these measures, number of fatalities, the rate of fatalities per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, the number of serious injuries, the rate of serious injuries per 100 million vehicle miles traveled, and the non-motorized serious injuries and fatalities, there were improvements in 2021 that we're projecting over what we saw in 2020. Some of this is due to perhaps traffic decreases during the pandemic. So as you can see, these are the metrics that need to happen in order to adopt the state's safety performance measure targets, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. I hear no comments. If there are any further comments, please state them now. If not, thank you very much for that report.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Brezski.
The next meeting of the Technical Planning Committee will be Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. And that's not me. I'd just like to mention that state budget orders have gone out, and no surprise, COVID had an impact on the revenue stream for the state. So a lot of our communities and counties have looked at maybe 20% or better reductions in MVH and LRS, or the local road and street funds that they normally get. So I've asked staff to kind of help look into the impacts of this. And I'm sure that LTAP at Purdue University is also studying this. So hopefully we can find some resolution and solutions to helping all of our communities. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Brezski. That was an excellent report. And Mr. Weber as well. And
Mr. Brezski.
And Mr. Brezski. And if I missed anyone, thank you. These items are all under the consent agenda. So if there are no further questions on items, the Finance and Personnel Procurement 2101, the public comment report for the TIP Amendment number 12 by Mr. Brezski, and the two resolutions 2101 and 2102 will be taking one vote to approve all those. Are there any comments before we take the vote? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve all of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Brezski. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further comment? All right, shall we call a roll?
Yes, just want to confirm, was that Mr. Stenson that seconded the motion?
I'm sorry. Yes, it was, Candace.
Great, thank you. Okay, I will take roll call then. Janet Beck,
Yes.
Jeff Benson,
Aye.
Kevin Brzezinski,
Yes.
Charlie Brown,
Yes.
Bill Carroll,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Jocelyn Denham,
Yes.
Tom Dermody,
Yes.
John Derwinski,
Yes.
Dinah Dumbrus,
Yes.
Denise Ebert. She commented yes. Bill Emerson,
Yes.
Robert Forster,
Yes.
Michael Griffin,
Yes.
Richard Hardaway,
Yes.
Eric Hall,
Yes.
Justin Keel,
Yes.
Andrew Kiris. Andrew Kiris. Robert Lemay,
Yes.
Sue Lynch,
Yes.
Tom McDermott,
Yes.
Lori Mercer,
Yes.
Wendy Miss,
Yes.
Matt Murphy,
Yes.
Jerome Prince,
Yes.
Rick Rifa,
Yes.
Tom Schmidt,
Yes.
Brian Snedecor,
Yes.
Greg Stinson,
Yes.
Gerald Swets,
Yes.
Mary Tanis,
Yes.
George Topple,
Yes.
Jim Tunn,
Yes, I vote yes.
thank you, and John Yelkich.
Yes.
That concludes the roll call.
And Candy, excuse me, I don't know if you saw that Andrew Kiers has voted yes in the chat.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ty. I did not see that. Appreciate that.
Sorry.
Okay, then
No problem.
what is the final vote then, Candace? Can you hear me?
Yes, 34.
Okay, we have a approval on the consent agenda, so the consent agenda passes. Thank you very much. Moving right along, the NERC Economic Development District report by Gabrielle Bakunis.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. It has been an exciting and busy last few months for all activities and things that are under the Economic Development District. So just to give a little background, in late 2019, NERC was designated by the Economic Development Administration as the Economic Development District for Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties. And then in July of last year, we received funds from EDA to actually administer the district for all things economic development activity-wise. So as a district, NERC maintains and implements the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or known as the CEDS, and that's a 5-year strategy-driven plan for regional economic development, and that essentially helps guide the economic growth of our region. And so the last CEDS was completed in late 2018, and it is updated every 5 years. So our next update will be in 2024. And also as a designated district now, so the communities that are located in Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties of our district have now access to federal funding opportunities for any economic development related projects. And so NERC does provide assistance to communities that are seeking EDA funds. We've been working with a number of communities and helping them apply and just do project development. So if there are any questions, if there's any communities that are looking for funding opportunities through EDA, please contact me, NERC staff here, and we can help with sort of that project development, help you apply and have a better understanding of what is eligible under EDA. And so also in light of the pandemic, Congress passed the Coronavirus Aid and Relief Economic Security, or known as the CARES Act, last year. And so in July, the EDA awarded NERC with 2 CARES Act grants to assist Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties for any economic recovery as a result of the pandemic. The first grant that we received was for $400,000, and that was to respond to the pandemic and to address short and long-term economic development impacts. And we will be doing that essentially through the development of an economic resiliency plan. And this plan will serve as a regional guide to prepare and sustain any other future economic pandemics, disasters, or recoveries. And so that resiliency plan will cover elements such as broadband, transportation infrastructure, business, workforce. So a little bit of a mixture of many different elements in there. And we are currently soliciting for a consultant through a request for qualifications process to have that plan developed and done. And that RFQ will be going out shortly, so within the next few weeks. We've also been able to, under this current grant, been able to hire additional staff for capacity building and technical assistance. And as Ty has mentioned earlier, we're really excited to have on board Denneray Kane as our economic development specialist, and Lucas Eklund Baker, who's our communication specialist. So very excited to have them on board and helping with all this economic recovery that we are doing. And so we've also been able to purchase new laptops and additional technology equipment that's through that current grant. The second grant that NERC received from the EDA CARES Act was for $583,000 to capitalize and administer a brand new regional revolving loan fund program to help small businesses in Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties that have been impacted by the pandemic. So there is about $530,000 that we will have available to assist businesses in recovering and responding to the impacts of the pandemic. 53,000 of that total is used to administer the program, which has been very helpful for us. And that program, it will be called, or really it will be known as the Recover NWI Loan Program. And we are almost about to launch that loan program. So that'll be an exciting opportunity and just an additional tool to help communities sort of recover from the pandemic. So we'll have that loan program out soon, and it'll be sort of given to everybody, and it'll help your communities and your businesses as well. So we've had a lot going on these last few months and much more to come, and I'll keep everyone updated and just stay tuned. And that really covers my report. If there's any questions?
Are there any questions? Thank you very much, Gabrielle. That was a very good report. Glad to hear that things are going well. And future looks bright in Northwest Indiana. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving along to item number 10, INDOT, Matt Deitchley, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Morning.
Morning. So just a couple things I wanted to run through, just a couple items I wanted to address everyone on. So community crossings, obviously, as I'm sure most of you are aware, the call opened on January 6th, and the deadline is next Friday, the 29th at 5 p.m. Eastern, that's 4 p.m. Central. So, you know, we just had the award announced last month for the previous call, and the second one of 2020, that is. 241 Indiana towns and cities and counties were awarded $101 million collectively. So we're looking forward to another year with community crossings. So but if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me on community crossings, but also a lot of you have a contact with Marcia Lancet in our district as well. Just want to address winter ops. I think all of us in all of our localities are, it's been challenging but also quiet at times. We didn't have really much until Christmas, and then it hit us a bit, and then the ice storm of New Year's Eve made it feel like this winter's been worse than it has been. But the grand scheme of things has been relatively mild compared to what we've seen in past years, which I know you're all hyper aware of that. It's been a challenge for us too, with some of the COVID-19 challenges to help these crews. We're finding ways to navigate that so our crews can still be on the roads as they always are in a safe manner. The last thing I wanted to address is while we are in winter, we're not too far away from the new construction season. And we do have some significant construction for the interstates in the area coming up this year and next year. So some of you may remember a few years ago, we had what we dubbed Restore 94. There was a 2-year program where we had significant work going on 94, mostly in Lake and Porter County. So we are announcing Restore 94 2.0, much to your dismay, but also celebration, because it means our roads are going to be looking better. So I just wanted to make you all aware that 2021, 2022, we'll have a lot of different contracts, preventative maintenance on I-94. Eastbound and westbound will be under construction both those years between the Illinois state line and Indianapolis Boulevard. Westbound, we're actually going to go back all the way to 65 later this year, and then eastbound, that work will go back to 65 next year. So just wanted to make everyone aware of that, and we're going to be seeing a lot of work happening. So we're doing our best to work with IDOT in Illinois to make sure we're limiting those backups and doing all we can to make folks safe, but also get traffic moving through. More to come as that project gets ready to debut. But that's the end of my report. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to help.
Okay, hearing no questions, I want to thank you, Matt, for the wonderful job that you're doing. And keep up the good work, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other business?
If I could just direct the commission back to Meredith, I don't know if you can slip to the top of the agenda, or I could share my screen for the meeting dates for 2021. You are so good. Thank you for doing that so quickly. Just to direct your attention to the 2021 commission meeting dates. Those are in your packet as we've scheduled them out. Again, we're dependent on the governor's executive order to enable us to, emergency declaration to enable us to continue to meet virtually like this. We assume that he will do that as long as the pandemic persists, but we have not known that, as you all know, until pretty much the end of the month, as he can only do that in 30-day increments. So stay tuned, as it says at the top of the agenda there, for meeting venue. The next meeting, though, is not until March, a meeting of the executive board. For those of you that are new to the commission, even if you are not on the executive board, you are more than encouraged to attend those executive board meetings, and many do. So you are welcome to be there. But for a commissioner that is not on the executive board, the main expectation is the 4 commission dates that are highlighted in bold on these meeting dates that are indicated as full commission. And those are the ones that we need a quorum of 27 to be able to conduct our business according to state statute. So I would ask you to make note of that. Candy did send out a calendar invite, which I think worked for most of you, it sounded like. So we will continue to do that throughout 2021 to make sure that the meeting dates are on your calendar and that you have easy access to the Zoom link. So if you can watch your inboxes for that, that would be great.
Okay, thank you, Ty. I'd like to thank Ty and the entire staff at NERC, all the executive board in both last year's and this year's, and all the commissioners and new commissioners. Welcome you all. Thank you so much for all that you do. It certainly is appreciated, and without everyone participating, it makes it more difficult. So thank you so much, and God bless everyone. Is there any other business from anyone? Hearing none, are there any announcements?
Yes, Bob Carnahan.
Thank you, Bob. Let's hear it.
I would like us all to remember either family or friends that have been lost due to the coronavirus. We need to pray for all their loved ones.
Thank you, Mr. Carnahan. Is there anything else from anyone? If not,
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Hi, Bill Emerson here. I just had a request for the next nominating commission, I guess, for next round. And I know this year's been challenging communication wise for everybody, but hopefully we could have a little more communication on the nominations next year for the sitting board members, so they can have a little more notice to either lobby for themselves to be added or just have a little more notice. That would be my request for next year.
Okay, thank you. We'll take that under consideration, see if we can get that to work.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
sir. Todd.
like to take just a minute to thank Michael Griffin for his years of service as chair. We certainly appreciate his skill and expertise, and we'll look forward to working with him in other capacities.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Dunn. Any other business or any other announcements? Okay, I would like to take this opportunity to thank again everyone, past and present. And also I'd like to make a note that this past Tuesday, January 19th, was my wife's mother's 100th birthday, and she is doing just fine. And she had her driver's license renewed at age 98, complete hip replacement at 96, and she gets around very well and is doing wonderfully. So I'd like to just make note of that. It's just a little personal side event, but we have things to look forward to. Longevity is there. Anyway, is there any other announcements? There being none, the meeting is adjourned. Have a great day, a great year.
Be well,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
All the best to everybody else.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye.
Thank you, George.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you.